All right, if you would please rise and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. If you could remain standing just for a few minutes as we remember those that have lost their lives overseas in defense of our country, and those here, as well as two of our members here in our community that have passed, Louis Palella and Tom Underwood. Thank you. All right, before we, one, I'd like to welcome everyone for coming, and before we get underway, I would like to invite up Jim McGee from Senator Larkin's office. The reason that I asked Mr. McGee to come today is because we've said it a couple times, but it's a little too big not to say a third time. When we cut the ribbon on the face my it's not just these lovely three people that have made it to the meeting. It's the hopefully more that are watching. But when we cut the ribbon at the senior center, the senator reminded me, made sure that we got the money, and because it was the same amount, $50,000 from the community block grant, and it was $50,000, I assumed it was the same money. Oh no, we got it, don't worry, yeah, you're all good. Never mentioning at the ribbon cutting that to thank Senator Larkin for getting us an additional $50,000.
Yay.
So I wanted to make sure, the senator's a little under the weather, but Jim was kind enough to come down, and I think it's important. It's important not just for me to announce it, but to have people from Senator Larkin's office. Senator Larkin, this was the request was not in writing. It was not a letter writing campaign. It was not 20 phone calls. It was an in passing, by the way, if you have an opportunity, we need some money for the senior center. Thought went right out of my head. But that's what Senator Larkin's about. He hears and he takes it to the next level. Because the other thing I have to thank Jim and the senator for is, okay, I just gave you $50,000. Is that good? And me being funny, said, well, we could use a TV. And he's like, are you serious? And I said, well, no, I'm just kidding. He goes, no, do you want one? And I'm like, well, if you got one. And this again was, I didn't realize he gave us 50. If I knew he gave us $50,000, I wouldn't ask for a TV. But he had already said he was going to, and I called him back and said, don't worry about it. He goes, no, my wife and I are going to pick it out, don't worry. With his own money. Not your tax dollars, with it out of his own pocket, he's getting a flat screen TV for the senior center. This is who's representing us, and it's important to know that. This is not an election year, we're not trying to pump him up, but when you, not that you're gonna pass him on the street, you might, please give him a hug. But when you hear his name, when you hear things he's doing, you need to understand the work that he is doing for this community. And this community is the redheaded stepchild, make no bones about it. We're way over to the left, we're not in the middle of anything. Unless we reach out, it's a rarity anybody hears us. But Senator Larkin is constantly coming down without us having to reach out, constantly asking us, what do you need? So I just wanted to thank Senator Larkin, through Jim, to our community, and know that we really appreciate it. If you did want to say anything about what you're doing about Senator Larkin, please feel free.
Sure, thank you. So on behalf of the senator, you know, if you know Senator Larkin, you know there's no such thing as an unimportant community, or you know, it's if you need something, he's your guy, and that's just the way he's always been. I'd like to thank you guys. I'd like to thank the people that have come to attend the meeting. You know, this can be very, very thankless, and it's really, really important that people get involved and show up at the meetings. It's really important that you guys are as dedicated as you are. This is where the work gets done. This is where the hard decisions get made. So on behalf of the senator, I thank you guys for doing all the hard work and making everything happen. And I thank you guys for attending and making sure these guys do their job. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
And I just want to thank Jim himself, because he has to travel down for 3 minutes of us recognizing him. Now he's gotta travel back, and this he does on a regular. Jim, thank you so much.
My pleasure,
And he
anytime,
got
thanks
here
again.
early, so.
Yeah. Way earlier than me. I'll tell you that.
Talk to you soon.
Bye.
Thank you too.
Public comment on agenda items.
Good?
Department head reports. Wastewater.
Wastewater. For December 2014, average treated water per month, 0.658 million gallons a day, 5.4 inches of precipitation. Facility met all New York State speed permit limitations. Pebble Lake pump stations and Havens Road checked regularly and operating properly. 9.34 tons of digested sludge processed through the belt filter press by SpectraServe. Belt filter press in operation 8 days. 67.5 cubic foot of grid screenings removed from the disposal by TAM Enterprises. Chief John Jones attended the department head meeting on the 9th of December. Met on site with Representative Regal, with Representative from Regal Chlorinated to discuss upgrades to original chlorination equipment. Sanitary sewer system TAM Enterprises used root cutter to complete open sewer drain between Church Street heading east to Main Street between Dom Farms and facilities there. Web Lane Pump Station, TAM Enterprises replaced both dry pit submersible pumps and controls. Work began on December 2nd and was completed on the 10th. Web Lane Pump Station, clean repainted floor after pump replacement job was completed. TAM Enterprises jet crew back, removed blockage in sewer main on Main Street between Donald Farms and Shades. Marked out 5 sewer mains during the month. Maintenance and lubrication of pumps, motors, machinery as required. Maintenance of buildings and grounds, 25 days. Man hours lost from sick or vacation or compensatory time, 18 days. Gas consumption, 53 gallons.
Okay, on that, just to give the public a heads up, we had discussed this at a department head meeting, and that is whether it's sewer, water, or any of the other groups coming in, gas, electric, particularly when we put down new roads, but anytime. No new markings on our roads. I've discussed that with all the department heads. Half of the groups have been using permanent paint that takes forever to wash off. So we've told them that if they're not using chalk or the water-based paint that takes 2 rains, if not going up there with some water, they're not coming in and marking. What's been happening is they'll mark 3 months before an actual job, so that marking will sit on our roads, all up and down the roads, 3 different colors for 3 or 4 months, and that's if they get to it. If not, they'll put it on for 3 months later. So we are addressing that, but if people are seeing new markings on the road, please feel free to call us so that we can get on top of it. Different colors mean different groups, whether it's Central Hudson, O&R, our own markings, things like that. So that's an issue. It does take away from the look of our village, and these are some of the things that just needed to be addressed. Fire.
Fire. Well, the chief is here. He noted that ice rescue is going to be taking place the first week in February 3rd for the in-class. And if you see some of us crawling through holes in the ice on February 7th, that's the practical side of the training. I did want to add some comments about the passing of Louis Palella. Louis gave 67 years of volunteer service as an active firefighter to this community. We believe that he may have been the longest serving active firefighter in the state, and I hope we're able to get hard facts on that, because it really was an accomplishment. Louis' daughters are in the auxiliary. He was out there fundraising this past fall, and he was just a vital part of our community. I mentioned his daughters being involved in the fire company. This evening I looked, and we've got 10 families, their legacies. 2 members of the fire department are here right now. Steve Suarez and his wife are both, well, Steve is the chief and Angie is financial secretary, active firefighter, and a member of the board of directors. Fran Galou, her son and husband, all three of them have had illustrious careers. And this evening, we'll be welcoming a junior member. And to his credit, his letters of recommendation all point to the unusual level of maturity and selflessness that this young man has demonstrated. So I'm just very proud to be able to talk about our fire company, and I know the community does appreciate what the HFFD does. Steve, would you like to add anything?
Couldn't have said it better.
Nice. Treasurer, monthly financial updates, revenue expense control reports, budget preparation to begin in February, schedule being generated, debt service has been reviewed, and band planning being developed for a late February, March offering, water funds from town received and in place for infrastructure projects, and insurance settlement for front-end loader nearing conclusion. A lot of work being done by the treasurer, and very happy with the product the village is getting as far as what we're saving, as well as money coming in. Senior Center.
Senior Center. Okay, not too much to report. I'm trying to get over here, sorry. Not too much of an update to report. I did go to the senior meeting today and I updated the group on everything. We're still waiting for the work to be done in the bathrooms. We spoke about that today. I think we're both on that. The tables and chairs have been ordered, should be shipped, so we're waiting for those. The good news stories on those is I learned a little bit more about your purchasing policies, and I was able to find another company that had even better tables and chairs, and it came in a lot less. So instead of spending over $5,000, we spent just under $3,000.
Excellent.
So, so I'll be looking to spend that other money a
Yeah,
little later.
yes.
There's always a reason. And I'm glad to hear the senator's gonna buy a TV, because that's one less we have to worry about buying. The other thing I would like to ask permission for is I wanna submit a grant to the West Plains Women's Club, because it's their grant season again, to get some larger supplies for the center. It would be the second TV and a commercial coffee maker, so that everyone would use it. It's commercial, it won't break down anytime soon. So I would like to submit that, if you can prove that under your new business.
I don't, Gina, just like Ken or anyone else goes for grants, do we have to approve her to go for that? Or because she's a committee now, she can just go do it?
You should approve her to go do it.
Okay.
So I have the paperwork all done. Once I hear from Gina that, the minutes were done and approved, I'll just submit it, because I have it all ready to go. Other than that, it's just we're eager to get in there, but everybody knows it's those darn tables and chairs. So, if you guys have any questions, you know where to find me.
Thank you very much. Planning Board.
Want to do this or you want?
Yes, let's do that.
I mean, I could talk really quick about the treatment.
Yeah,
Wanna
real
wait?
quick, really quick.
We'll wait on that.
Okay. We're gonna do this, the resolution during new business, but I would like you to,
I could really quickly about the treatment, if you want. All right. It's come to the attention of the planning board, that, there's been some indiscriminate and excessive removal of trees in the village. This has resulted in creating increased surface drainage and soil erosion, which creates municipal costs, to the drainage. So the planning board is putting together, some resolutions that we can add to our tree log as it stands. So before people start cutting large trees down in the village, that they have to come, before the building department or the planning board.
Do they need a building permit? So let's say the guy wants to come in and just clear the lot. Does he need a building permit for that, or does he usually start with clearing it and then stop in and drop a set of plans off on the structure?
Again, that's why we need to discuss with Mr. Hager
Right.
what he needs to issue a building permit for a residential lot
Right.
that, you know,
Well, that's like kind of
isn't
my
total
point.
conformance.
Just in case it doesn't have to go to the planning board, let's say it's something that's just straightforward. The guy stops in, oh yeah, I want to build a house. Yeah, no problem, just bring us in a set of plans, and once you get moving along, you know, you get it.
Right, so here it would, just for example, it would say the species and condition of the tree shall be reported to the building inspector of the village of Highland Falls. Again, more instruction in this that would give the building department more power to go out and take a look at these trees, know what they are, and then obviously if they don't have to come before the planning board, at least he knows what kind of trees are out there and what they're gonna be cutting down.
What the rules are also.
All right.
Thanks, Jim.
Okay, with, do you wanna do that now? Yeah, tell us what it's about, we'll do the resolution during new business stuff.
All right, second thing that the planning board has is, we had a member of the planning board, had moved away. He is a staple in the village, he's been here since, I don't wanna say how long, but a long time. His service on the planning board was a minimum of 53 years, and it's Fred Brennan. So what the planning board's gonna do, being that he's gonna be moving out of the village, is we came before the board and we asked that the board make Fred a planning board member emeritus, so we can continue to give him plans and utilize all of the knowledge he has about this village. I have one plaque here that we're gonna hang up in this meeting room, and I have another one that we're going to be giving to Fred at his new residence.
Excellent, thank you.
Very nice.
Is it on camera?
I really appreciate it, and that's important. It's important that we recognize 67 years, Louis Palello, 53 years, Fred Brennan. He's not just a staple, he is Highland Falls. Louis is Highland Falls, and that's examples of what we need today when people are doing something for 2 or 3 years and think they've given their life to the community. These two gentlemen gave their life to the community.
Do you have a Hall of Fame, a place that we can,
Well, that's actually what we're looking to start, and maybe we need to expand that to other areas of just those people like Louis and Fred.
pass?
I agree, and I think that's a great
Who are all
idea.
those people that created Highland
Because,
Falls?
right, 5-10 years down the road, when they don't realize who Fred Brennan or Louis Palella is, the new people coming in, where are the examples? Did you ever realize that this kind of effort, time, and work was put into this community? I think that's a great idea. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, moving on to the mayor's report. In regards with police, we have a new PBA president, Tom Cleveno, and I want to congratulate him for being elected as the new president, and Officer Zayas as the new vice president. I met with Officer Cleveno, Officer Zayas, and Chief Scott last week. My goal was to meet with the entire department to find out, what can we do to better the department. Officer Cleveno and Officer Zayas felt that it would be better to have a smaller meeting first, then follow it up with a larger meeting, depending on what came out of it. So what came out, we did talk about several different items, and I think it's important, again, to get the communication moving better in all areas. And I think we started that there, and we will be setting up a second meeting from that. Okay, I also met with Colonel Dunham last week. We have a good, I think, 93 issues that we want to discuss with West Point, but then nothing will ever get done. So we're taking one at a time. And the first one that we tackled and we're already coming to a finalization on, which is great. I want to thank Colonel Dunham for his quick response and moving forward on it with his departments. For those who don't know, we budget about $20,000 a year for leaf removal. And that's expensive, particularly for living in the forest. We have nowhere else to dump. We've been dumping locally for a long time and still paying $20,000. So when we run out, we're looking at more like $30,000 plus, depending on how much leaves fall and if we actually pick them all up. So we had talked to Colonel Dunham about possible solutions, and they are actually looking into solutions for themselves as well, because at this point, what happens is the leaves are brought to the transfer station, then they're taken from the transfer station and brought to another area, and that's where the cost comes. We bring it to the transfer station. The cost comes in by taking it from the transfer station and bring it to the place where it's dealt with. So what we've come up with, because West Point does the same thing. West Point brings their leaves to the transfer station and then has them removed from the transfer station, taken somewhere else, and it costs them. So they're looking into composting, they're looking into several other possible solutions right now. But the solution that we've come up with right now is they are gonna allow us to bring our leaves to West Point. We're gonna be working with our DPW to designate specific sites, and it will be free for the village. So that cost, we've now eliminated. I wanna thank Charlie for pushing the issue, because we have about 20 different things that come up every day. And I'll tell you right now, you know, we could talk parking meters all day, but we talk about certain things and then they fall by the wayside because it's not today's news. But Charlie wouldn't let it sit. We set up the meeting with Colonel Dunham, so that's hopefully $20,000 we will not have to spend from here on in. We also discussed other opportunities for land use on 9W and 293. He's very open to it. I think that rather than just ask for land back and we'll see what we can do, we've got to get a little more specific of what we want to use it for, possibly have investors and projects already, potential ones already ready to go, so we can show, you know, not that it isn't our land, because it is, but let's show them that we're just, you know, we just don't want it back to have it. We want it back to use it for the survival of this community. He was very open to it, very happy about it. I want to thank Mrs. Claiborne for once again organizing the Martin Luther King Jr. March down Main Street, along with the events at the St. Mark's Church. A lovely event after the march. I'd also like to thank Charlie for representing the village. And Brian Allward for representing the center. We have come away from that march with forming a committee. Ann Molina is putting that together because this is a day that we're allowing to go by and nothing's going on. It's nice that we get a day off, yay, but more important things happened here. Martin Luther King, it isn't just a person that stood for one thing. He had a lot of fantastic things for this world. Not for the state, not for the country, but for the world. And we need to highlight those. If we're gonna have a day, we wanna highlight those, and that's what this committee is gonna look into, and I'm excited to see what comes out of that. The 4th of July committee is starting to meet. We are looking for new members of the 4th of July committee. It does have a new chairman this year, so the chairman is reaching out. Anyone interested? So this is our biggest celebration in the community. We can use everybody's help. Don't think that you're not qualified. Everybody's qualified to help. Please, you can contact me and I will put you in charge. I'll put you in touch with Debbie McLeod, who is the new chairman of the 4th of July committee. We would love to see more groups get involved this year to start taking over certain aspects of the 4th of July. And we are going to be reaching out to those groups to ask them. At this time, I would like to read the resolution for Fred Brennan. For dedication of service. Whereas on October 23rd, 1962, the Village Board of Trustees established a planning board commission. And as, at that time, Fred Brennan was appointed to serve on the commission and continued to serve until January 2015. And whereas, during his tenure, Frederick Brennan devotedly served, and not only as a member, but also as chairman, for more than 30 years. And whereas Frederick Brennan has always been mindful of the interests of the village and worked endlessly to further enhance the quality of life in the village through careful development and strategic growth. And whereas after 53 years of community service, it is fitting that the Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees extends its profound appreciation, respect, and admiration for Frederick Brennan's tireless service to the village planning board. Now, therefore be it resolved that Frederick Brennan is hereby appointed to the honorary position of Village Planning Board Member Emeritus. And be it further resolved that the village clerk be authorized and instructed to place a copy of said resolution in the official minutes of the village and to transmit a copy thereof to Mr. Brennan. This resolution will also hang here in the village boardroom. It will be signed by all board members, and this is, we have a number of people this year that, along with Fred, along with Louis, Mr. Brown is going to be stepping down from the board. And we have a decent amount of people that have really made significant contributions to this community. And I agree that we need to try and recognize as many as possible. I want to thank Fred Brennan, Photo Fred for those that know him better, because it's not just the planning board. The paper, for, you know, if you knew him 50 years ago, you would have said he was, 72 then, let alone the fact that he's like, who does New Year's Eve?
Oh, Dick Clark.
Fred Brennan is Dick Clark. He hasn't changed in 50 years. And I want to thank him for all the work he has done also for our community. Two great men, and
He's well.
he's
Oh,
well.
good.
He's in, but he did have to move out. He wanted to be closer to his wife.
Wonderful.
We need thank you very much. I need a motion on the resolution. Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call?
Roll call, trustee Mallon?
Aye.
Trustee Murphy?
Aye.
Mayor Flynn?
Aye. Just a note on that resolution, it is an honorary position, the first one. And for those that didn't catch that, the first point of that resolution, the day that the planning board was established, Fred was on it. So it started with Fred Brennan. I say we probably just end it here and have no more planning board. Is that all right, Jim? Really? Just kidding. Honorary, this is an honorary position with no voting rights. So it is the first of that, and it's fitting that the honor go to Fred Brennan. All right. Discussion. There's nothing under discussion, but I'm gonna bring something up under discussion real quick. Because we have a member here in the audience. Talking about the, something we brought up before, and there's probably a good 15 items that we brought up and we really worked through, but as Gina pointed out, well, you really didn't finish that. I thought I did, I thought we made a motion, I thought it was done,
It's 8 months ago.
and it's not. So some of these things we have to revisit, close it up, and finish it, and one of that is the jukebox entertainment law. It's been brought to my attention that, it needs to be looked at, it needs to be revamped, it possibly needs to be thrown out. That's what we need to look at. I personally would have no problem One of the confusing things for some of the bar owners is that there's two different ones, one for jukebox, one for live entertainment, one's a full year, one's 6 months.
Semi-annual.
Yes. So I would have no problem, it's not, to me, it's not a money issue, it's not generating income. It used to be when we had 55 bars. When we had 55 bars, it was generating money and it was very good. Now we have 6, ish, and it's not that issue. So we need to look at amending that to assist business, because that really is the purpose.
There's only
It's to,
5.
it's a, you'd like to think there's only 5, there's one more you didn't know about,
Oh.
yeah, see that?
Oh,
Nah.
is that your first?
We need to look at it again. Business needs as much help as we can give them. The codes and the laws are put in place to protect everyone, but at the same time, they need to be established to promote business to the best that we can. Again, I don't think that it's $150 for the year. I don't think that that's out of control. But at the same time, something like $5 a month. This way, we can do it on a yearly basis, and this is I'm just, my opinion. On a yearly basis, you come in July, you can just pay for the year, and then everyone can re-up in January. And this way, there's no, $8.50, it's an even number, it's $60 for both. We put it on one, we make it simple. Because to me, the only benefit of this for the bars and whatnot is for us, trying to maintain order in the village, is the ability to take it away if it's abused.
Is that your professional opinion as far as?
That's just my
that?
opinion.
Oh, okay. I'm saying like the scope of it is that, what is the purpose? That's what I want to know.
Right. And
But
that's
you
not
already
something
have
that we're
that
gonna decide
in
tonight. That's how I see it. $150, to me, like the $2,500 that New York State gets, that's money generating. I don't think you want us to, charge $2,500
No,
for the
you were smart
village.
when you made another resolution that anything that happens locally should stay local because you would benefit. I
Right.
mean, that's a no-brainer, but it never really picked up, say, 6 years ago. So my argument, now that we're back on it again, is that if you read the application to the New York State Liquor Authority, they have the authority, okay, because it starts here in the village. So when there is an issue with music, loud, them having to constantly go there to ask us to turn it down, even though, yes, I can understand turning it down within reason. But again, if the door is opening and closing and people have the right to flow, they have a right to move, maybe that we can't always contain it at that given moment, okay? I was looking back at a FOIL report of an officer, because as you know, every 30 days, I asked the police to tell me what the history is on Side Street Saloon because of past issues when I first came on board, and everyone's pretty much aware without me having to go into all the dirty laundry. But one of the officers had posted, or had put in their blog that they were in the police station and they heard the music at Side Street Saloon. I found that to be absolutely amazing when Benny Havens shares the same wall as the police station, but yet it was assumed it was coming from Side Street Saloon. So I would argue that point. I could have came and made an issue of it, but I said, common sense would tell you that. If you're in the police station and you can hear Side Street Saloon's music, that's amazing. No, you must have the best ears ever. Especially when the police station shares, as I said, a few walls and a back door with another establishment.
So we're
So all
going
I'm
to,
saying is that goes on my
Right.
record, that's a part of mine. So what I'm saying is that you already have the authority. It's already there, so why am I paying it twice? Because New York State says, before we can grant you an application or look over your license to entertain and have a jukebox, we need to see that you're not putting in stadium speakers, you're not holding all-night events, your lights aren't on for 15 hours when people are trying to sleep. They control it with the process of an application, because I have to show them a jukebox, a wall, where it's going to be, how many speakers, what's the hours of operation. I already paid that with 25.
Through
So,
the state liquor authority?
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
And I have the paperwork and I can back it up.
And that's
And
okay.
it's 2,500
Listen, it's not that I'm
a year.
arguing the $150.
And
I
we're-
only
we're-
wanna know what
we're
is
good.
your purpose,
Right.
you already have
And that's
control,
what, that's what
because
we're
I have the
looking, well,
police
that's what we're gonna look
reports.
into.
Yeah,
And I wanna bring it up today, so that we have, I'd actually like to see if we can't finish this at the next meeting, but I wanted to bring it up so we have that information, pursue it. We'll talk to New York State.
I think, excuse me, but do we have to notice a public hearing because it would involve,
I would think.
change?
Whatever you're gonna do, if you're making an amendment to it, or even probably getting rid of it, would require, I would think, a local law. Your attorney's not here tonight, but he would be the one
Right.
to ask.
But that,
Sure it would.
that's here nor there, that's not gonna affect what's going on. When I say finish it, I mean make decisions by the next meeting, then we can call for the local law and the whole nine. But I don't, what I don't wanna have happen is what's happened with the last 2 or 3 things that we brought up and tried to get done, is that we bring it up, we seem to come to a conclusion, but we didn't take it to the final step of making it a law. With some of the, even with some of the local laws, the chief has adjusted, some of the local laws didn't get changed, because we didn't take it to the final step. So that's something that I gotta go back and make sure, what was finalized and what wasn't, but
And
this
Can I
maybe
just
we get a
ask,
copy of the
on-
jukebox or the local law, so
Right.
we can kind of review it. and-
Yeah, I would suggest
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
And the only other question I have is, I mean, you know, whether it's $50, $5, $150, the point is, it's about the cost, not for me, I'm speaking for the other 6, the 6th one, I guess maybe it's bigger at the cafe. I don't know. But my point is that I just think it's ridiculous. You already have the control. When the police come, whether it's to me or to any local bar, we all respect the police. You know what I'm saying? If somebody blows it up, and I had mentioned at the last meeting that that live locally next to a bar chose to live there, okay? They didn't come down and become the opposition when, whether it was me or another bar that said, hey, we're gonna be opening up. They didn't come down to give 99 reasons why they did not wanna see that entity happen. So my point is that we all have to get along. And then it's not fair that the taxpayers would be paying for the police to have to come and answer to somebody's whining, you know, with a 911. That becomes a personal, so if you're going to make the amendment, and there's someone that feels that, you know, they wanna constantly call the police only on a Friday and Saturday when the cadets are in our neighborhood, and we're all trying to, you know, grab a dollar in order to survive for the next 5 days. My point is then a resolution should also be put on the books that the person that abuses and makes the phone calls and says, Side Street, Fireside, Benny Havens, Amon's Place, whoever, you know what, you need to maybe keep a number of that. And then after, say, 2 times, you know what, now you're going to be given a summons to appear, you know, before our local court, which obviously would be the town, to explain why you feel privileged that you can continually interrupt the flow of the police department, providing safety for the people that are in need, and not just because, you know, maybe you wanted to sleep at 9 o'clock at night, or you couldn't hear the 10 o'clock news. Oh well, you know, oh well. So I'm saying it has to go both ways. So if we're gonna keep it in the house, and the village is going to say, listen, after so many hits, we're not gonna send it out of the town, because we're losing money. We're gonna bring it in tight, and if you abuse it, you have to come more than 2-3 times, and I think that you mentioned it in the paper, then you're going to be having to pay a fee to the village, rightfully so, because, you know, we told you once, we told you twice. Guess what? Now it's gonna cost you, because it interrupted the budget with the police department that's limited and squeezed to come to the Side Street Saloon because there's an issue over the music, the jukebox, or the entertainment, the live entertainment, or any other business that's operating in the village. So I'm saying it has to
Well-
be for the community as well. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
Because I
But-
researched them out and,
I-
listen,
I know, we're good.
you know
Okay.
I could really blow this up.
I know you can.
I can, and it's, you
but
know,
we're-
stop me when
that's
it's
what-
not the truth though, that's my
That's what we'll
point.
do, is we're gonna take this,
And I
if you
just
want,
wanna
no.
Well, about the
We're-
entertainment. You don't want to.
Talk to me, we're gonna actually work on this next 2 weeks, so I actually wanna sit down with you.
Again.
So that we get it right, and we'll follow up on it.
Alright, and just one thing
Thank you.
about entertainment.
Open meeting at the end of the day.
Alright,
You gotta wait if you want to stay.
I'll wait, okay.
You wanna pay?
I'll wait. You know
gotta
that
stay.
I'll wait.
Okay, new business.
I apologize.
No, you're good, you're good. We need to approve the minutes for the regular meeting, January 5th, 2015. Do I have a motion? Seriously?
Yeah.
Wow,
You can,
then we can't approve them.
you can
I
approve
Yeah,
can
them if you
approve
read
as
the
to form.
You don't see any problems with them as you
I
read.
do not see any.
I'll make a motion we approve the minutes.
Do I have a second? That way you don't have to actually make a motion. You can just say
I'll
it.
second it.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? A resolution for a budget amendment. 2014-2015 budget amendment, whereas a donation of $700 has been received from the iDonate Goods, whereas this revenue has been designated to offset the cost of beautification. Now therefore be it resolved that due to an unanticipated revenue from the iDonate Goods, the Board of Trustees approved an amendment to increase the appropriation budget A 7120.0400 beautification contractual for $700 and the revenue code A .2705 gifts and donation for $700 for the fiscal year 2014-2015. Do I have a motion?
Do.
Second?
Second.
Roll call?
roll call, trustee Mallon,
Aye.
trustee Murphy,
Aye.
Mayor Flynn,
Aye. I have a resolution for the 2014-2015 budget amendment, whereas $4,000 was received by GHD Consulting Services, Inc. as part of the RFP process for the WWTP, and whereas this revenue has been designated to offset the expenses of this project, now therefore be it resolved that due to unanticipated revenue from GHD Consulting Services, Inc., the Board of Trustees approved an amendment to increase appropriation budget G.1440.0400 engineer contractual for $4,000 and the revenue code G.3389 miscellaneous for $4,000 for fiscal year 2014-2015. Do I have a motion?
You do.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
roll call, trustee Mallon,
Aye.
trustee Murphy,
Aye.
Mayor Flynn,
Aye. We have budget transfers.
May I, just make a statement and,
Sure.
for, recently, we have received some straight donations from the community. And I think for those members of the community who, if it's a donation of more than $250, the village needs to send out a thank you letter that includes certain verbiage that says no services or product was received for this money. So those individuals can write it off on their income taxes. So I will get that language and provide it to the clerk, and going forward, anytime we get a donation, we need to send that letter out.
Okay, sounds good. Thank you. I have two budget transfers from the general contingency to street maintenance equipment in the amount of $5,000. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I have a motion to transfer from the water contingency to the trans and
transmission,
distribution contingency
What?
in the amount of $10,000.
Please, I'm not familiar with that.
What is that?
that's the
Oh,
water department.
transportation.
Transmission and distribution, that's the water department,
Okay,
Oh,
transmission
okay, all right,
distribution,
all right.
okay, gotcha. In the amount of $10,000.
I make that motion.
Second?
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to approve Fran Galoo to pursue a grant from the West Point Women's Club. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All's in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? I need a motion to allow our historian Stella Bailey to utilize the room which is last been designated for Big Brothers Big Sisters here on the second floor for storage. She's running out, we need places to put some of the stuff so we don't toss it.
She really needs it for maps.
We have, Ed was gonna use that space?
No, there's another one. Right after I said okay to Stella, Ed goes, yeah, I'm gonna start moving myself. I'm like, Fred.
Okay.
There's two rooms. There's two rooms, so.
Which room we talking about?
She's gonna use the middle room as using the front room, I believe. Yeah.
Okay, right.
Primary for maps, correct.
Yes.
Motion?
So moved.
Charlie Murphy, second. Bob Mellon. All's in favor?
Right.
Aye.
Opposed? I have a resolution, seeker negative declaration, date January 20th, 2015. This notice is issued pursuant to Part 617 of the implementing regulations pertaining to Article 8 state environmental quality review of the environmental conservation law. The Board of Trustees of the Village of Highland Falls, as lead agency, has determined that the proposed action described below will not have significant adverse effect on the environment. The title action is the renovations to the new senior center. Type 2 seeker, renovation of the senior center to include bathrooms, electrical, plumbing, heating, cooling system, sprinkler installment, window replacement, and new floor finishings. Location 15 Drew Avenue, Highland Falls, New York. Reason for supporting this determination: the intention of the improvements project is renovate the facility for the use of senior citizens to hold meetings, recreational and social gatherings. No potential adverse environmental impacts have been identified. All work to be carried out in accordance with proper engineering and construction practices and detailed engineering plans prepared by professionals. For further information, contact our engineer, Al Fusco. Copies of this notice were sent to DASNY and the Village Clerk. Questions? Do I have a motion?
Make that motion.
Question?
Do we need to declare ourselves lead agency first?
Did we do that already?
Is that the next one? That I had them out of order?
Yeah. I think
Okay.
so. The one before that was.
It's not, I'm not reading this again, just so we understand. Okay. Resolution for the Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees, seeker lead agency. Thank you. Whereas on December 4, 2014, the Village of Highland Falls was notified by DASNY, the Dormitory Authority, State of New York, that the village is approved to receive a State Municipal Facilities Program, SAM grant, in the amount of $50,000. And whereas this grant is designated for renovations to the new senior center located at 15 Drew Avenue, whereas this type 2 action under seeker, whereas the Board of Trustees is the only agency with jurisdiction authority to approve any renovation work to be performed. Now therefore be it resolved that the Village of Highland Falls Board of Trustees is declared seeker lead agency for State Municipal Facilities Program SAM grant in the amount of $50,000. Now you feel good.
I feel great.
Fantastic.
I would love to move that.
I like that idea. Bob, fantastic. Roll call?
Roll call, trustee Mallon,
Aye.
trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Mayor Flynn.
Aye. Going back to the seeker for negative declaration, as I stated. Any questions? Do I have a motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call.
Roll call, trustee Mallon,
Aye.
trustee Murphy.
Aye.
Mayor Flynn.
Aye. We have a letter here from Officer Kuhn for retirement. I need a motion to accept the letter.
I suggest we accept Mr. Coon's, Officer Coon's,
Letter.
resignation.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
I was gonna help you.
Yeah, I
Opposed?
was no help you on that one.
Acceptance of the letter. I have an appointment. Yes, we have an appointment for part-time officers. Our first is Kyle Esposito at the $21.35 rate, step 1 of the PBA contract with maximum probation. Any questions?
Looks like everything's in order.
Okay.
Good?
Yes, sir.
Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion, we hire Kyle.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Appointment of another part-time officer, Ed White, at the rate of $21.35, step 1 of PBA contract with maximum probation. Questions?
He's currently a police officer in Putnam County.
No, this is
Ed White?
Ed White, he's retired NYPD.
Oh, okay.
These were both recommendations from,
Yes.
great. Good, Ken?
Any questions? No? Do I have a motion?
Looks fantastic.
I make the motion, we hire Officer White.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? I want to thank, we're still looking for at least 3, possibly 7 more part-timers. Ken has been putting together a stack, he's looking at even more. This will help fix a problem that we have with the overtime. So we are actually working on that, which I appreciate.
Can I ask a question, or do I have to wait?
You'd have to, oh, go ahead.
I was just wondering whether or not meeting today, but somewhere down the road, has there ever been a thought or a conversation as to maybe kind of doing what Cornwall has done now? They put it on the books that their officers must live in the community, or with, you know, it just, I noticed that they made some big changes, that their officers are now a part of the community if they want to be employed by the taxpayers. And it was interesting, the reason why is because they felt that the taxpayers, obviously, it was to their advantage to be paying a salary of a police officer that could humanize the community, know what the needs are of the youth, which apparently there was
That's the
some
one thing, I
issues.
just don't know if it's legal.
It is, we actually
Yeah, it is.
had it, we actually had it on ours
Now,
where the
I
chief,
spoke to a few people and they were saying that,
Yeah.
what a
I
difference.
know they did that in the city for a while, and then they said that you
They
don't have
said
to.
35
Yeah,
miles or 20
Newburgh
miles.
just,
Yeah.
Newburgh is
Newburgh also.
discussing this.
Yeah, you know why,
now.
because they're finding that more, you know, it's easy to be a transit in any job, you know, but
Although it's hard to maintain a part-time
But that's what I'm saying, maybe
force.
we could find, because if we're gonna think about consolidating, maybe that's something.
I
the
actually,
chief could
right,
talk to
I would
both
actually
chiefs.
look to do that after the consolidation. And I personally, if we even did it, I would work on more of the full-timers.
Yeah, I agree, I agree.
Not the part-timers, because we're having, tough enough
Staffing
time
anyway, yeah.
staffing the part-timers.
Well, can you use that?
I understand exactly what you're saying, I feel the same way, whether it's teachers, whether it's DPW, whether it's police. The more that we can get here in our community, you know, finding qualified people in our community or
Take care of
making
our
it
own.
attractive for them to come, that's another issue where, and they will have police move into areas that aren't maybe so great, and that helps to regentrify the area.
The
It's-
town has 42 police officers that are part-time, is that what Pat Quinn, or Jack Quinn had mentioned?
Ken, do you have that number?
No, they have about 20.
20?
20, oh, I actually saw some paperwork on that, and it was 42 part-timers.
Right.
And
I would,
say, can we use some of them until we can?
no, we've looked at that too.
You can't.
But Ken's moving, actually, we're moving in a positive direction right now. And what I don't wanna do is, I agree, I think that's a great thing to look
I'll
at.
foil that.
But I don't want to put another thing on. My goal would be consolidate and let the new force handle that with the town. More restraints we put on our force is gonna be a harder time to consolidate. But no, I agree, it would be a beautiful thing if we could.
Yeah.
I have a motion, I need a motion to approve Zachariah Pendergraft. I'm gonna say it again, Zachariah Pendergraft, that's a serious name.
The answers
For
to
the
that.
junior member of the Highland Falls Fire Department. So we need an approval for Zach.
I would like to move this, he's a fantastic addition, and his mother is an active firefighter.
Excellent. Questions?
No, I'm fine.
Excellent, do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? All those in favor?
I,
Approved. I need a request for training for Deputy Treasurer Anna Sierra and Account Clerk Margaret Lewis for Basic Accounting School in Kingston, New York, from April 14th to April 16th, at a cost of $85 per person of mileage reimbursement.
You're gonna be able to cover everything, Gina, for her absence? I make the motion, we send Margaret and Ann.
second,
All those in favor?
I,
Opposed? I have a request for training from the village treasurer, possibly myself, to attend the Association of Towns annual meeting, February 16th. Conference fee is $125, transportation and meals not to exceed $100.
I will move this and, well, move for discussion.
Discussion.
Oh, right.
That's fine.
I'm very supportive of this. The Association of Towns is in New York City, so, you know, there's no overnight. It is extremely useful. I would hope that at the Association of Towns in February that they will be discussing the new consolidated funding application for grant applications. So have at it.
Nice.
Second. I'm fine with
Okay, all those in favor?
I,
Opposed? I need a motion to approve the bills and claims for the fiscal year 14-15 of $108,069.51 and $500 for the American Resource Recycling Corp. At a total of $108,569.15.
So moved.
Do I have a second? All's in favor?
Aye.
Board comment. Bob?
No, I'm just, the grant for the senior center that Fran's applying for, has it got any limitations on that, or is it just?
No, this is the West Point. In fact, I'm gonna ask her also to go to there's two large groups that do grants on West Point, DUSA and the West Point Women's Club. They've been given grants out at $50, $500, several $1,000s, depending on what's being asked for and what's available and what they raise. So, no, there's no specifics on it, but they do, I know in the last year or so, they have been looking to see the benefits and what benefit it will be towards the West Point community, which is where the women come from to pull the money together. So, but they have, in the past, always given to the school, given to other local organizations, Boy Scouts, Girl Scouts, things like that. Is that it? Charlie?
Just a quick note that June 6th will be the next gala for supporting our local library, and it will be raising funds for capital improvements to the unfinished basement area that really could be a great asset to the community if it was fixed up.
Excellent.
More to follow.
I was in touch with the Youth Bureau today of the county, specifically calling for center. I have some dates for you, Brian, on different applications, dates for grants, as well as they want to talk to you to start getting you into what's available in the county, what's available in the county to come down. This is something that we're, at the board level, pushing for more and more involvement in the county on all levels. And I think that what the center's trying to do, and I'm going to bring up the center most meetings because it's a unique piece that does help our community. And if they were, if there were overflowing coffers, it wouldn't be a big deal. But they're barely surviving. And the work that they're doing and the product that they're producing is phenomenal. So what we're also looking to put together, and I'm asking for the community's help, and that is a list of people that are willing to work with the village to maximize the money from corporate donations. And I will explain. Kohl's has a program where when you, the Big Brothers Big Sisters do their bowl-a-thon every year. They put a request into Kohl's, and for every 5 people Kohl's sends down to volunteer for the event, Kohl's also gives them a $500 check. So every year, the Big Brothers Big Sisters normally gets 10 volunteers and a $1,000 check. There are many corporations out there, and a lot of times you will get better response if you had somebody that worked for the company. You don't need to, but that's how you get a better response depending on what they do. Now, what you do need when you work for Verizon, you do have to work for Verizon. I talked to another of our community members who is looking to get donations from Verizon for the community, and one of their programs is, if you donate, if I work for Verizon and I live in the community and you donate 50 hours, Verizon will donate $750 to the local charity. These programs have been going on for years. The problem is we don't know about them. The problem is that we're not looking to know about them. But this is something, and they're not gonna do that 10 times for Highland Falls, but they possibly, depending on how many other people are using the program, will do it multiple times for the same community. So if you have people that are volunteering on a regular basis, that work for a company, not even doing extra, but what they're already doing. We're not talking about $50, $100, we're talking about $750 from Verizon. Now, O&R, Con Ed, Entergy. Entergy has a whole bunch. We're not exploring it. We're gonna explore it, but at the same time, I'm looking for any residents. Now, those that own their own small mom and pop shop don't have that. But if you're working for any corporations, companies like Verizon, Con Ed, O&R, Entergy, computer companies, whatever, if you would take some time to help us, check with your human resources department. They will have the information of what programs are available. If you can get a copy of it, that'd be even better, and drop it off. We're talking about the difference between tens of thousands of dollars. You know, if 20 people participated in the program, that could easily be $15,000 with no extra work, with the exception of filling out some paperwork, which for these two events, there was none with Kohl's, and I know that for Verizon, he just has to fill out a simple form, and it's done. It's not a thick thing that we have to do for grants. So this is something that we are gonna start putting together, we're gonna be reaching out to our community, and it doesn't necessarily have to be, if your brother lives somewhere else, they can still do this and benefit this community. And again, it's very little we're asking, because most people are already doing something to help the community. But it's another source, it's another stream of income that is not tax dollars and is not, unfortunately, what Charlie's been trying to get for the last several years, due to our status, our wrong status of where we are, where they've put us. We're not eligible because they say we're too affluent a community to be eligible for half the grants out there, more than half the grants,
How
which
did
we're
that
not.
happen?
Well, it's the
Can you
state.
explain?
It's the state, and it's every 10 years they redo it.
Well, it's the federal government, it's the US Census. Our median household income exceeds the state's limit for being eligible under these consolidated funding applications. So as soon as you type in what the census says our median household income is, we're thrown out of that grant.
Oh, so how did they get the date on that? I'm curious to know.
There's several ways we put it together. Actually, Charlie challenged another community, and we've talked about possibly challenging, but it's very difficult. But again, we're constantly looking for more non-taxable streams. We are not looking to take more tax money, put into it. But what we are looking for, and what I am gonna ask our businesses, we know businesses are always being, asking for money, and I am too. I'll never stop asking for it. I'm not gonna bang on your door and look you in the face and say, could you give me $200? But I am gonna put out a letter to the business, and I've said this before. For those that saw what we did in the fall, we could do so much more. And working with Vision and working with the Garden Club and several other organizations, this community should look what it should look like. And a couple $1,000s is what's gonna do that. Which is why we put that $700 from I Donate Goods into beautification. Which is why we put the $1,000 from the Eisenhower Leadership into beautification. Now we're gonna be looking for other money so that we can actually build up a beautification fund so that we can do even more. So for those businesses that wanna get a jump on it and send a donation to the village, we're open. Just make sure at the bottom you put business donation for beautification, or if you want it somewhere else. I am gonna put a letter out only because I know that sometimes, though you're doing very well, you may have forgotten, boy, I really should have sent $200 to the village for beautification.
Does the village match the donations that businesses, like with fundraisers, or does the village board do something?
We were actually gonna approach,
For a country dance on Main Street.
right, we were gonna approach one of the bars
Sew
on
balloons
Snyder
and
to
t-shirts.
see if they could head up that
Like,
project.
what do you do? You're asking me to do. What does
We
the village do?
We sit up here and spend way too much time
I wanna hear
trying to find
your,
money.
you know, like, what are you doing? You know, what can you guys do to fundraise? Like, I don't know, hold a card game, poker night, or, and just, you know.
We're gonna
just
balance the
sponsor it,
budget,
no
we're gonna
cost.
balance the budget and save you about $300,000.
Try to stay at a 2%
But
cap.
you know what?
Exactly.
That's your job, you signed up for this job.
And that's what we're doing.
And I love it. I appreciate everything you do, but I just want you to match what we do, because it's hard to turn a buck.
I'll tell you what, I
With
will, I
2 good days
will,
out of 5, or out of 7.
I will talk to our
I'm sorry.
treasurer, and I will show you on paper that we will match you.
That's what I want to hear, Pat. And then I'll do more.
I have no problem with that whatsoever,
I'll
it's
do
easy.
more, and this Verizon thing, best friends with the CEO of Verizon.
I
Never
know.
had a conversation.
But most companies do it, we're just trying to see if there are some
I
other.
made a list, I got 8 people
Last-
I contact.
Last thing for me, I mentioned it earlier, 4th of July is so important. Again, with the businesses, we are coming out, I'm gonna be asking for donations for that as well. Several businesses, because donations weren't asked for a year, several businesses took it off their budget. We are asking, and we had mentioned it last year, we're asking it again, please do what you have to do so you can donate to the 4th of July. It is the biggest event that we hold here in the village, and we wanna make sure that it can be done right. We have anyone that wants to get involved, groups, companies, individuals, and you wanna take on a small part of what we do with the 4th of July, every little bit helps. With that, I would ask for a motion to close and go into executive session for personnel matters.
So moved.
So I have a second.
So we have public comment?
Man, I'm so close. Public comment.
I'm just gonna wrap it up, I am here as your opposition, but I'm open to it as well as you, yeah, and that phone, you need to get that phone, but I know we're not getting the right message, but anyway, that's okay. So my question to you again is, we kind of tried to work this out, it didn't happen, I totally get it, it goes by crazy, and then I get the letter, wanting the information, so on and so forth, and it's really a waste of paper, time, stamps, money, more things for me to file, more things for me to have to pay out that I don't feel myself or any of the other businesses should be, obligated to donate $150 a year to the Village of Highland Falls, when there's so many other ways, as you just mentioned, that we could do better, okay? And to hurt, not myself, I'm speaking to everybody, the number 6 that I might have overlooked, that we should really work this together, and between the board member and the village police department, I'm sure you could eliminate it, process of elimination for growth. Okay, so if we can save $150, that's terrific, all right, and for me and for the other 5, okay? So my question to you is, can we, instead of worrying about $50, because you haven't really told me the reason why, or you did kind of tell me half a reason why that it was important, and I've already explained to you why I feel that I've already paid it, so it seems to me it's almost like I'm paying twice for the same service that's rendered regardless, because the police will show up whether or not, someone's complaining, or if they feel the need for whatever the reasons are. And again, as I said about the New York State Liquor Authority, you can go back and check on that, and then you'll kind of understand why I feel it's a BS code. Haven't found another code from Port Jervis to Suffern that a municipality / village that holds their establishments responsible to pay to their municipalities a surcharge to own it, because we don't own it, we just operate it, and we also pay 20% to Touchstones. So just to wrap it up, is that the entertainment part of this is that means then the gas station has to pay for an entertainment tax.
Well, I just wanna get this clear, you pay $2,500 a year to the state
Correct.
for the privilege of playing.
Right, and we also pay to the village an operator's permit every year. And then I also pay a permit to do business with the town, I
But-
have.
But
So-
this is above and beyond the
Sure, because
music.
because you have to go before, the way it goes in the real world is you go before the municipality and you tell them that you are going to be opening up a business, and this is your location, this is your time of operation, this is what you'd like to have. So you want to let the community be aware, so if there is opposition, they can come forward and say, we don't want, Side Street Saloon can be open, but we don't want them to have an outside DJ. You see, so it opens up a dialogue for an argument, and then it would be up to you to weigh whether or not. So if you go back 6 years ago, even though I wasn't required by law, I did come here, I presented who I was, what I was about to do, how I was going to operate, and all the things that I would include. So because you were aware of it, and I have the approval from our past board, I then from there followed through at New York State. So New York State says, well, let us see what you're doing. so you have to photograph the entire place.
I'm just trying to focus on the music.
Right, and that's what I'm trying to tell you. So I had to show the wall that the jukebox would be erected on, and then I had to show the size of the speakers, how much wiring, how much footage to the front door, how many people were going to be present, occupancy, okay? And what was the law on the books at the time with the Village of Highland Falls. So once they get all the information, then they decide whether or not I will be approved. Because if my speakers were, say, 12 inches, and they said, no, for a size that big, in a residential, whatever, we only want you to put in 4-inch speakers.
I just want to very briefly play devil's advocate, just to
Okay.
get a better fix on this. If the police wanted to utilize the state to get a business to turn the music down,
They already have. Back in 2011, December of 2011, they sent a package to New York State Liquor Authority, to Albany, stating
well, what I'm
the
getting at.
music was too loud.
You're
It was
introducing
events that
what I'm
went on.
trying to
They were-
get to. Wouldn't it be better to deal with it locally rather than bringing in?
The mayor has said that in the paper 2 weeks ago, that they're going to do it locally, because then, after so many times, then you will be getting a fine to pay to the village, instead of the police department sending up papers steady up there
Right,
anonymously,
this
and then
is-
we get surprised, wait a second, we get surprised with a letter from New York State Liquor Authority that says, we now have a summons, we now have to appear. Okay, and that fine they allocate how much they wanna charge you, so if it looks really, really serious in the village, which it did back in 2011 of December, and you can foil it, or I can share my copy, outrageous. I spend every 30 days, I ask the police department to please tell me the history on the village. Because
Okay.
I got in trouble. I paid a fine, and so has Benny's, so has
Right.
everybody else.
to
So
the
the
state?
only thing.
Because our village police, not saying who,
Right.
sent it up, so New York State says, wait a second, we allowed you to have a jukebox, you're permitted to have it, and entertainment, and because you violated,
Yeah,
it's gonna cost you $5,000.
Okay,
there's-
That's
So-
what I'm trying to say, that
I understand that. Now,
you're
the
keeping
only
it
thing
in
you're
the house,
looking,
that's a good
the
thing.
only thing you're looking for us to change, you're asking for a change, is, all you were asking for is why we have the,
What is your
law on the-
purpose?
the
What is your
purpose of
reason
the law.
that you haven't already,
that we haven't already,
enforced? What will you change that you're asking for the
Well,
$150?
I agree that it's crazy to have to write individual checks 3 times a year. It should be
But
one
what am I writing
thing.
them for? What is your
Well,
service that you're
okay.
rendering?
In my
we're allowing you
view,
to have the jukebox, and
New York State is allowing me to have my jukebox.
But
we're only charging
What-
$150 though.
what it should be doing, as a home rule community, we should be handling these noise disputes locally,
In the house.
not pulling in New
Exactly.
York
And-
State liquor.
Because
And
they
we
have
are.
no idea, we're just a case number.
Well,
But if we come in to
Noma's
make the
saying
argument-
that our police
past.
And we have
are.
reasoning.
Oh,
In the past.
okay.
Yeah, so all I'm
going
saying is that
forward.
to send it to Albany, a complaint,
We,
we're a number or
We
file.
don't wanna
It's a-
do
It's a
that.
dollar on them.
we haven't
We should be
actually
revenuing
done
right
that.
here in our own village.
Um,
You know, if we can't resolve it with the police department, which, let me tell you, they're excellent.
Then
They
we're-
get us. They
They-
get all of us. They're doing a wonderful job.
Okay, so
They
what-
come up and humanize us.
What we're gonna do is, I'll actually sit down with you to make sure that we're getting every point addressed.
Okay.
We'll bring it to the board next meeting for discussion.
Well, you know, we probably need a copy of the jukebox law and this,
Right.
from the SLA, what their requirements. I
Well-
mean, if it's things that are redundant, I understand
Right.
what she's saying, but.
I
but
spoke
they
to them and they
don't-
asked me, they said, who
but-
made that up?
But
I
if you
said, "The Village
abolish,
of
if
Highland
you
Falls."
abolish the local law completely and everything went from the police to the SLA, you're not gonna like that either.
Exactly, but he already made the point 2 weeks ago in the
Right.
paper that, you know what, let's look at it for what is, humanize every situation, okay, because you're called out anyway. So, you know what, if you're abusive and you turn the music down after one night come and the police will leave and then you
What-
turn it up, you know, and they come
I
back,
think we're on the same page.
you gotta get
What we're
hit with
gonna do
that,
is, what we're gonna do
common
is,
sense.
we're gonna go over it, next meeting, we'll discuss it. At that meeting, we will set, depending on what we come up with, we will set the public hearing and change it if things need to be changed. I agree that it needs to be clear, it needs to be pro-business, and we need to get this off the books. Not get rid of the law, but get this moved on.
Well, at least
that's-
understand, an explanation, because then, again, with the entertainment tax, that means you have to go, the village now has to go to the Shell station, because they sell lotto tickets, you have to then go down to the IGA or, the market, they sell lotto, scratcher. Those are all entertainments that are tied in with New York State. Okay, so it's really becomes very big. If you want to keep it contained, I am suggesting to the board to eliminate having to pay any fee for a jukebox. So if the fire department's going to have a social night, you want to do a Vegas night, good for you, a bingo night, you gotta now pay for a permit. Because you're entertaining, you're making money. You're bringing money in for your cause, and I'm trying to keep my jukebox and a DJ once a month in order to keep my cause going up there. It's called my livelihood. So if you're gonna be fair, let's be fair for the entire community that's doing a business, regardless of whether you're, even the laundromat, he's entertaining maybe. or the-
Okay, well, we're gonna get together. We're gonna
You
get together.
understand what I'm saying?
I understand what
I'm
you're
not here
saying.
to make
Nope,
more trouble,
I'm with you.
I'm here to
I understand what you're saying.
understand. And another thing though,
Nope,
but I don't think you guys get it.
no, we
like,
do,
I
but we're
don't
gonna
think
sit
she
down.
would get it, like,
No,
I don't think she
trust
was-
me.
I
Do you-
do,
We're gonna sit
I
down.
do. I just
You know what I'm saying,
don't
like-
want to,
I went over this
It will
already
be-
4 times.
if
That's why I get
If the state is the only recourse,
And you know what, you
it's
can't tell a
worse.
lie twice, and I've said the same story
But
4 times,
let's-
5 different ways to
It's
500
okay.
people.
You're good. We're gonna get together, put it together, next meeting, deal with it, then move to the law. Done. Love you.
I love you.
I appreciate it.
do.
And for those,
listen,
and for those
I get
people,
the police,
I understand.
yes.
No, you get the police, and I
would hate
appreciate
to
it.
be them.
For some people, they're like, whoa, I actually appreciate when Loma and, I know you don't think I do.
No.
I appreciate when Loma and several other people,
I have an opinion, I'm gonna voice it.
come in and do what they have to do, because you know what, it's active government, and it's active community, it's participation, we need more of it, okay? But I'm gonna keep cutting you off as best I can, not as good as I should be, but I'll cut you off a little bit. No!
Yes.
I already closed
I
the
want to
meeting!
honor our police officer that's retiring, why can't we?
We're done, we're good, because I got Jim
Retirement
Ramus up, we got Jim Ramus up, I already closed the meeting, now I got more
Should
people
have.
coming up, go ahead,
We didn't
you're
do
right,
Shouldn't have.
Jim.
I was a mistake.
I want to thank you for the kickoff consolidation meeting you had the other night. Was disappointed we didn't have more people there, and was wondering when the next meeting was.
We haven't set the next meeting yet, and people were asking that when, we had about a dozen or so people. People were like, I thought more would have come. I'll tell you what, when it gets closer and things are on the line, we're gonna have 100 people at the meeting. And I love the last meeting, I'm gonna hate the 100-person meeting.
When is this meeting?
We haven't set the next date yet, but we did already come away with some excellent points to bring to the state to get information and come back with answers on districts, on some other things. Because this is why we're having the meeting, so that it's not rushed and we don't make the wrong decisions. And I appreciate those that came and those that participated. Thank you, Jim.
I just got one thing.
Please stop
Careful.
going. Careful,
That's like-
my neighbor,
Careful.
careful.
I want to thank Bill Strobel. Last week, he came in with some participants from the ambulance, and they did a first aid for kids. There was about 12, Mary Jane, about 12 kids there?
Yeah.
About 12 kids. I want to thank Mary Jane for coming and taking some pictures of the kids. Went through CPR, went through a break, how to call 911, responsibility, how to move people if you find them on the ground and stuff. The kids really enjoyed it. Bill would not take any type of money, but we did give him a Dunkin' Donuts card, and he had a problem with that. He just did a great job, and so did the members of the ambulance, and they should, really be praised for the work they did for our kids. Is that okay, Lo?
I would agree with you, they
Who's
should be
close?
recognized, they should be recognized.
Move to close.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you very much for everyone coming. Executive session.
I'm just thinking of myself.